There comes a point in life when you realize that the things you once chased no longer hold the same power over you. The need to prove yourself, to constantly seek validation, to rush into love out of fear of being alone, all of it begins to fade. It doesn't happen overnight, but gradually you start to notice a shift. The anxiety that once consumes you starts to lose its grip, and in its place, a deep, unshakable sense of peace begins to settle in. This is not a coincidence. This is a sign that something greater is unfolding. Before the right person enters your life, you will experience a profound inner transformation. You will stop looking for love as if it's something missing from your life, as if another person is the missing piece that will finally make you whole. You will stop searching outwardly for something that can only be found within. And when this happens, everything begins to change. For most people, love is associated with struggle. They have been conditioned to believe that finding the right person is a process filled with uncertainty, heartbreak, and constant effort. They believe that if they are not actively chasing love, if they are not constantly trying to make something happen, then nothing will ever come their way. But this is not how divine alignment works. When something is meant for you, it does not require force. It does not require endless chasing, pleading, or proving yourself. Instead, it arrives naturally, effortlessly, and at the perfect time. But before this can happen, you must first reach a place of peace within yourself. This is the space where love is cultivated. This is where clarity is found. When you are restless, when you are anxious, when you are desperate for connection, you are operating from a place of fear. And fear cannot create love. It can only create attachment, dependence, and cycles of disappointment. When you are afraid of being alone, when you believe that love is something outside of yourself that you must obtain, you are more likely to settle. You will mistake attention for affection. You will tolerate inconsistency because you fear losing even the smallest amount of love. You will overlook red flags, make excuses for mistreatment, and convince yourself that a love filled with anxiety is better than no love at all. But when you reach a place of peace, everything changes. You no longer seek love from a place of lack. You no longer allow loneliness to dictate your choices. You no longer believe that you must fight to be chosen because you understand that real love does not require a battle. When the right person is meant to be in your life, there will be no resistance. There will be no confusion, no guessing, no questioning your worth. There will only be alignment. This kind of peace does not come easily. It requires growth. It requires healing. It requires letting go of the beliefs that have kept you trapped in cycles of emotional turmoil. It requires releasing the idea that you need someone else to feel complete. It requires learning how to be happy on your own, not because you have given up on love, but because you understand that love is not something you need. It is something that will naturally flow into your life when you are truly ready for it. Reaching this state of peace means you are no longer in a rush. You are no longer looking at your life as if love is something you must achieve by a certain time. You stop comparing your journey to others. Stop questioning why some people seem to find love so easily while you continue to wait. You trust. You surrender. You recognize that everything is happening exactly as it should, and there is no need to force anything. And then, without warning, things begin to shift. You start noticing a change in your energy. You feel lighter. The things that once bothered you no longer have the same hold over you. You stop replaying old memories. Stop wondering what could have been. Stop feeling the urge to reach out to people who were never meant to stay. The pain of the past no longer defines you. The person you used to be, the one who begged for love, who settled for less than they deserved, who feared being alone, is no longer in control. You have outgrown them. This peace is not something that can be faked. It is not something that can be forced. You cannot pretend to be at peace while secretly hoping that love will arrive the moment you stop looking for it. True peace means you no longer feel like you're waiting for something. You no longer feel like your life is incomplete without a partner. You are simply present, fully engaged in your own growth, fully immersed in the beauty of the present moment. And this is when everything changes. Because love is not something you chase, it is something you align with. It is something that comes when you are already whole, when you are no longer seeking completion outside of yourself. When you reach this place, you begin to attract different kinds of people. You no longer attract those who take advantage of your kindness, who keep you guessing, who leave you feeling unsure of where you stand. Instead, you attract those who are also whole, those who are ready, those who see you for who you truly are, without needing you to shrink yourself to fit into their world. The energy you give off when you are at peace is entirely different from the energy you give off when you are searching, yearning, waiting. When you are at peace, you radiate confidence, self-assurance, and an undeniable sense of inner security. You no longer need validation from others because you have already validated yourself. You no longer fear losing people because you know that anyone who is meant for you will never require you to hold on so tightly. You no longer beg for love because you have learned to give it to yourself first. And it is in this space, this sacred space of wholeness, that the right person appears. Not because you went searching for them, not because you manipulated the process, but because you became the version of yourself that was ready to receive them. And when this happens, there is no struggle, there is no resistance. There is no need to convince, chase, or prove. There is only alignment, there is only ease, there is only peace. There are moments in life when you meet someone and everything seems exciting at first. The chemistry is there, the conversations flow effortlessly, and for a brief period it feels like this could be something special. But then, slowly, the energy shifts. What once felt light and effortless begins to feel heavy. The excitement turns into uncertainty. The clarity you once had is replaced with overthinking. You start questioning their intentions, analyzing their words, and wondering if they truly see you the way you see them. This is the pattern that so many people fall into, mistaking emotional highs and lows for something meaningful. They believe that if they feel deeply drawn to someone, then that must mean it is meant to be. But real connections do not operate this way. When someone is truly meant for you, they do not bring confusion. They do not make you doubt your worth. They do not leave you feeling like you must constantly fight for their attention. Instead, they elevate you. They add to your life in ways that are undeniable. The right person does not come into your life to distract you from your growth. They do not pull you away from your purpose or consume your thoughts to the point where you lose sight of yourself. They do not drain your energy or make you feel emotionally exhausted after every conversation. When someone is truly meant for you, they fit into your life in a way that feels natural. There is no force, no pressure, no need to constantly overextend yourself just to keep them interested. One of the biggest misconceptions about love is the idea that it should feel like a struggle. That if you are not constantly trying to win someone over, then the connection must not be real. But this is a dangerous mindset to have. It keeps people stuck in relationships that do more harm than good. It makes them believe that the more they sacrifice, the more they prove their love, the more they hold on, the more valuable the relationship becomes. But the truth is, if someone truly belongs in your life, they will never require you to struggle for their presence. That when the right person enters your life, they will align with the direction you are already heading. They will not be a distraction, but rather a reinforcement of the path you are walking. You will notice that instead of feeling drained, you feel inspired. Instead of feeling anxious about where you stand with them, you feel secure. Instead of questioning their intentions, you feel reassured by their actions. There is a level of ease that comes with the right connection, and ease that so many people overlook because they have been conditioned to believe that love must be complicated to be real. The person who is meant for you will not make you feel like you have to put your dreams on hold just to keep them happy. They will not make you feel like you must shrink yourself to fit into their world. They will celebrate your growth, not resent it. They will encourage you to become more, not less. There will be the kind of presence in your life that makes you want to aim higher, do better, and push yourself toward the best version of who you are meant to be. Too often people settle for relationships that keep them stagnant. They invest in people who do not support their vision, who make them feel guilty for wanting more, who do not share the same hunger for growth and purpose. But this is not how love should be. A real connection should elevate you. It should make you feel more alive, more capable, more certain of the path you are on. It should be a partnership that adds value to your life, rather than one that constantly drains your energy. When someone truly belongs in your life, they will see the potential in you even when you cannot see it in yourself. They will push you to step outside of your comfort zone, to reach for things that once seemed impossible. They will remind you of your worth, not make you question it. They will be a source of strength rather than a source of stress. And the best part, they will do all of this naturally, without you having to beg for it, without you having to constantly explain why you need their support. The right person does not compete with your growth. They complement it. They do not see your ambition as a threat, but rather as something to admire. They do not try to hold you back because they fear losing you. They walk alongside you because they understand that real love is about growing together, not keeping each other small. A relationship that elevates you will never feel like something you have to force. It will not feel like a constant battle between what you want for yourself and what they want from you. It will not require you to sacrifice your identity just to keep them happy. It will flow effortlessly, with both people working toward a common vision, supporting each other every step of the way. But this kind of relationship can only happen when you refuse to settle for anything less. It can only happen when you stop chasing people who make you feel uncertain and start attracting those who make you feel seen. It can only happen when you prioritize your own growth, knowing that the right person will never require you to abandon yourself in order to love them. It can only happen when you understand that real love does not pull you away from your purpose. It aligns with it. There is a shift that happens within you before the right person enters your life. It is not loud, it is not sudden, and it does not come with any dramatic signs. Instead, it happens in the quiet moments when you least expect it. You begin to notice that the things that once triggered you no longer hold the same power over you. The need to be constantly validated by someone else, the fear of being alone, the desperation to be chosen, all of it begins to fade. And in its place, a deep sense of contentment starts to grow. This transformation does not happen overnight. It is the result of many moments of self-reflection, many instances of choosing yourself over temporary validation, and many realizations that love is not something that you need to beg for. When you begin to recognize your own worth, you no longer entertain situations that leave you feeling empty. You no longer tolerate inconsistency, half-hearted efforts, or relationships that require you to lower your standards just to keep someone interested. Before the right person comes into your life, you will find yourself losing interest in people who do not align with the version of yourself that you are becoming. The late-night texts that once excited you now feel meaningless. The attention that once made you feel seen now feels hollow. The relationships that once seemed promising now seem like distractions. This is not because you have become cold or distant, but because you have raised your standards. You have learned that love is not about how much attention someone gives you. It is about how deeply they understand you, respect you, and show up for you in the ways that truly matter. There will be a time when you look back and realize how much you once settled for. How many times you accepted bare minimum effort. How often you made excuses for someone's inconsistency. How long you stayed in situations that did not serve you because you were afraid of starting over. But when you begin to value yourself, all of that changes. You stop seeing love as something you need to chase, and instead you allow it to come to you. You trust that what is meant for you will not require you to compromise your self-worth in order to keep it. Before the right person enters your life, you will go through a phase of solitude, not loneliness, but solitude. This is the space where you truly meet yourself. You begin to enjoy your own company in ways you never have before. You start to appreciate the quiet moments, the time spent alone, the freedom to focus on yourself without distractions. You realize that love is not about filling an empty space, but about sharing your completeness with someone who matches your energy. This period of solitude is necessary because it teaches you how to differentiate between love and attachment. It helps you see that many of the relationships you once craved were not built on genuine connection, but on the fear of being alone. When you take the time to understand yourself, you start to see that love is not something that should come at the cost of your peace. If a relationship requires you to constantly sacrifice your well-being, if it makes you feel anxious more than it makes you feel secure, then it is not love, it is attachment. And attachment is not the foundation of a healthy connection. As you evolve, the way you perceive relationships will change. You will no longer seek validation from those who only offer it in small doses. You will no longer feel drawn to people who keep you guessing. You will no longer entertain connections that leave you feeling more uncertain than assured. Instead, you will be drawn to depth, to realness, to people who do not just say the right words, but back them up with action. You will start to crave a love that feels like home rather than a love that feels like a game. This shift in energy is what attracts the right person into your life. Because when you stop seeking love from a place of need, you start attracting it from a place of abundance. You are no longer looking for someone to complete you. You are looking for someone to complement you. You are no longer desperate for attention. You are drawn to deep, intentional connection. You are no longer afraid of losing someone. You are more focused on building something real with the right person. This is the kind of energy that calls in the person who is meant for you, because the person who is truly right for you will not be drawn to the version of you that settles, that doubts, that compromises their worth for temporary love. They will be drawn to the version of you that knows what they deserve, that walks away from anything less, that radiates confidence and self-respect. They will not come into your life to fix you or fill a void, but to add to the life you have already built for yourself. And when they arrive, you will not feel the need to prove anything. There will be no games, no second guessing, no fear that they will disappear if you stop trying so hard. They will meet you at your level and they will match your energy effortlessly. This is how you will know they are different. Because with them, love will feel like an extension of your growth, not an obstacle to it. It will feel natural. It will feel certain. It will feel like something that was never forced, but simply meant to be. There comes a moment when you begin to realize that not everything that comes into your life is meant to stay. Some people are sent as lessons, others as reminders, and very few as lifelong companions. The challenge is knowing the difference. When you are desperate for connection, you may overlook the warning signs. You may convince yourself that just because someone shows interest in you, they must be meant for you. But time will always reveal the truth, whether someone is meant to help you grow or whether they are meant to be a distraction that delays your journey. The right person will never feel like a test. They will not come into your life to teach you painful lessons about self-worth or to push you into emotional chaos. They will not trigger feelings of insecurity or leave you questioning whether you are enough. That is what the wrong people do. The wrong people test you because they are not aligned with you. They challenge your sense of self because they are not meant to walk the same path as you. They force you into situations where you have to prove your worth because deep down, they do not see it. But when the right person enters your life, everything changes. It is not that relationships suddenly become effortless or that love no longer requires effort, but rather the struggle disappears. The emotional turbulence that once defined your past connections is replaced with peace. You no longer feel like you have to convince someone to choose you because their actions make it clear that they already have. You do not have to chase after reassurance because their presence alone makes you feel secure. One of the clearest signs that someone is truly meant for you is the way they bring calmness into your life. They do not add unnecessary stress, they do not create drama, and they do not leave you feeling emotionally drained. Instead, they bring stability. They are a source of comfort rather than confusion. They do not play games with your heart or keep you guessing about their feelings. With them, you just know. You know where you stand, you know how they feel, and you know that you are valued. Before meeting the right person, you may have experienced relationships that were built on uncertainty. You may have spent time with people who gave you mixed signals, who kept you in a state of constant overthinking, who made you feel like you had to work twice as hard just to receive half of their effort. These experiences may have led you to believe that love is supposed to be difficult, that relationships are meant to feel like a struggle, that the more you fight for someone, the more valuable they become. But this is not true love. This is emotional survival. When the right person comes into your life, love stops feeling like survival. It stops feeling like something you have to fight for every single day just to keep it alive. Instead, it begins to feel like something that nourishes you, something that strengthens you, something that adds to your life rather than drains from it. You stop seeing love as a battlefield and start experiencing it as a partnership. You realize that a real connection does not require you to constantly prove your worth. It simply requires you to be yourself. One of the biggest shifts that happens when you meet the right person is that you feel safe. Not just physically, but emotionally and mentally. You feel safe expressing your thoughts without fear of judgment. You feel safe being vulnerable without worrying that your emotions will be used against you. You feel safe because for the first time, you are with someone who respects your feelings rather than dismisses them. Someone who listens to understand rather than listens just to respond. Someone who wants to know the real you rather than just the version of you that is convenient for them. Safety in a relationship is something that many people overlook because they have become so accustomed to chaos. They mistake emotional highs and lows for passion. They believe that if a relationship is too stable, too peaceful, too predictable, then it must be missing something. But this is just conditioning from past experiences that were built on unhealthy patterns. True love does not thrive in chaos. It thrives in consistency. It thrives in mutual respect, in shared values, in the simple yet powerful act of showing up for each other every day. When you are with the right person, you will notice that your priorities shift. You no longer feel the need to seek validation from others because the love you receive is already enough. You no longer find yourself drawn to people who offer temporary excitement but no real substance. You become more focused on building something meaningful rather than entertaining people who only want to waste your time. This is because real love gives you clarity. It does not make you doubt your choices or wonder if you are settling. It reassures you that you are exactly where you are meant to be. The presence of the right person in your life will make you realize why everything else before them did not work out. You will see that all the heartbreak, all the disappointments, all the wasted time was not really wasted. It was preparing you. It was teaching you what love is not, so that you could recognize what love truly is. It was molding you into the kind of person who is ready to receive the love you have always deserved. This is why patience is so important. Because when you rush into relationships out of fear of being alone, you end up settling for connections that do not serve you. You end up mistaking attraction for compatibility, attention for effort, and excitement for longevity. But love is not something you force. It is something that flows naturally when the right person arrives at the right time. There comes a point in your journey when you stop chasing and start attracting. It is a shift in energy, a change in mindset, a transformation in the way you view love and relationships. This shift is not something that happens overnight, nor is it something you can force. It comes as a result of self-work, of letting go, of stepping into your true power. And when this shift happens, the type of people who enter your life also begin to change. You are no longer drawing in individuals who are uncertain, emotionally unavailable, or incapable of reciprocating the love you give. Instead, you begin to attract those who align with the energy you have cultivated within yourself. The moment you stop seeking love from a place of lack, you start attracting it from a place of abundance. You no longer look for someone to complete you because you have realized that you are already whole. You no longer try to prove your worth because you understand that the right person will see it without you having to convince them. This is when everything shifts. When love is no longer something you chase, but something that flows into your life effortlessly. Before this shift happens, you may have found yourself in a cycle of relationships that left you feeling unfulfilled. You may have given your heart to people who only took from you, who drained your energy, who made you question your value. These experiences were not coincidences. They were reflections of the energy you were putting out into the world. When you operate from a place of fear of being alone, fear of not being chosen, fear of not being enough, you attract people who reinforce those fears. You find yourself in relationships where you are constantly proving, constantly overgiving, constantly working for the bare minimum in return. But something changes when you finally step into your worth. You stop seeking validation from those who do not see your value. You stop tolerating inconsistency. You stop entertaining relationships that leave you feeling drained and unappreciated. Instead, you create space for something greater. You raise your standards, not out of arrogance, but out of self-respect. And when you do this, you begin to attract a different kind of love, one that is secure, consistent, and deeply fulfilling. One of the most powerful signs that you are stepping into alignment with the right partner is that you no longer feel desperate for love. You no longer view relationships as a source of happiness, but rather as an addition to the joy you have already created within yourself. You begin to understand that love is not about filling a void, but about sharing your life with someone who enhances it. This is why the right person will not come into your life when you are searching frantically for them. They will appear when you are at peace with yourself, when you have cultivated a life that is already rich in fulfillment. When you start to align with the energy of the right relationship, you will notice a shift in your interactions. The people who once seemed so appealing no longer hold the same charm. The things you once tolerated now feel unacceptable. The connections that once left you in confusion now seem like obvious distractions. This is not because you have become cold or distant, but because you have outgrown relationships that do not serve your highest good. You have learned that love should not be built on uncertainty, inconsistency, or emotional games. Instead, it should be built on trust, clarity, and mutual respect. Another sign that you are aligning with the right relationship is that your priorities change. You become less interested in temporary excitement and more interested in long-term stability. You no longer crave the rush of unpredictable romance. Instead, you seek depth, honesty, and emotional security. This is when you begin to attract a partner who reflects the level of emotional maturity you have cultivated within yourself. They will not come into your life to disrupt your peace, but to add to it. They will not make you question where you stand because their actions will always align with their words. When you are ready for the right person, you will also notice a shift in the way you carry yourself. You will no longer feel the need to shrink yourself to be more digestible to others. You will not tone down your dreams, your standards, or your authenticity just to make someone stay. You will embrace every part of who you are, knowing that the right person will not be intimidated by your strength, but inspired by it. This is why self-work is so essential before the right relationship can enter your life. Because the love you attract is a direct reflection of the love you have for yourself. If you do not respect yourself, you will attract those who do not respect you. If you do not value your own worth, you will attract those who take advantage of your kindness. But when you step into your power, when you understand your value, when you refuse to settle for anything less than what you deserve, the entire dynamic changes. You become a magnet for the kind of love that is pure, intentional, and deeply fulfilling. There will come a moment when you realize why everything else before this did not work out. You will understand that every heartbreak, every disappointment, every moment of loneliness was guiding you towards something greater. You will see that the people who left were never meant to stay, and the ones who made you question your worth were never meant to be your forever. You will recognize that every time you let go of what was not meant for you, you were making space for something better. And when the right person finally arrives, you will not feel the need to prove anything. You will not feel anxious, insecure, or uncertain about their intentions. You will know deep in your soul that this is different, that this is real, that this is what you have been waiting for all along. When the right person is truly meant for you, their presence in your life brings a deep sense of inner peace rather than emotional turmoil. It is not about perfect circumstances or fairy tale ideals. It is about alignment, about two souls recognizing each other and naturally fitting together without the need for force or manipulation. This is one of the most powerful signs that you have encountered someone divinely chosen for you. You feel an unshakable sense of calm, a reassurance that you do not need to fight for their love, their attention, or their loyalty. In past relationships, you may have experienced emotional roller coasters. One moment feeling elated, the next feeling uncertain or anxious about where you stand. These experiences may have conditioned you to believe that love is supposed to be chaotic, that it is normal to feel insecure or constantly seek validation from the person you are with. But when the right one enters your life, this pattern is broken. You no longer have to question their commitment because they make it abundantly clear that they are present, intentional, and consistent in their actions. A deep sense of inner peace comes when you are no longer caught in a cycle of proving your worth to someone who is unsure about you. The right person sees your value from the beginning. They do not need to be convinced, persuaded, or constantly reassured. You do not have to shrink yourself, tone down your personality, or play mind games to maintain their interests. There is no fear that they will suddenly lose interest or leave without explanation. Instead, there is trust, stability, and a mutual effort to build something real. This kind of peace does not mean that the relationship is free of challenges. Every connection requires work, patience, and understanding. However, the difference is that the challenges you face together do not threaten the foundation of your relationship. Disagreements do not lead to emotional withdrawal or silent treatment. Instead, they lead to productive conversations and resolutions. The connection is not based on ego battles or power struggles, but on genuine love and mutual respect. Many people stay in toxic cycles because they have mistaken chaos for passion. They believe that if a relationship lacks drama, it must be boring. But the truth is, when you have healed and grown, you realize that peace is the most beautiful aspect of love. Passion does not come from arguments, jealousy, or uncertainty. It comes from deep emotional connection, from feeling completely safe to be yourself, from knowing that the person beside you is truly invested in you. When the right person enters your life, you stop feeling like you are constantly walking on eggshells. You do not have to overthink your words, your actions, or your emotions. You are free to express yourself without fear of being misunderstood or judged. This is because the right relationship is built on a foundation of acceptance. The person meant for you will not try to change you into someone else. They will appreciate you for who you are. They will embrace your flaws, your quirks, and your imperfections. Knowing that love is not about seeking perfection, but about accepting someone completely. Another sign of this deep peace is that you stop feeling lonely even when you are physically alone. When you are with the right person, you do not rely on them to fill emotional voids or to constantly entertain you. Instead, their presence in your life enhances what is already whole within you. This means that you feel secure whether they are next to you or miles away, because trust replaces fear. You no longer check your phone anxiously waiting for their response, because you know that they will always show up for you. The right person will never make you question their love through inconsistency. Their words and actions align. You do not have to decode mixed signals, overanalyze their behavior, or constantly wonder if you are enough. The relationship moves with ease, with flow, without the need for manipulation or force. Love does not feel like a guessing game or a challenge to be won. It feels like a natural extension of your own self-love. The peace that comes with the right person also extends to your emotional well-being. You no longer feel drained by the relationship. Instead, you feel rejuvenated, inspired, and empowered. Love should never feel like emotional labor, where one person is constantly giving while the other is only taking. It should feel like an equal exchange of energy, where both partners uplift, support, and encourage each other to grow. A key shift happens when you meet the right person. You stop seeking external validation. The need to be chosen fades, because for the first time you realize that the right person will choose you effortlessly. You are no longer chasing after affection, trying to prove that you are worthy of love, or accepting the bare minimum just to avoid loneliness. Instead, you stand firm in the belief that you deserve a love that is certain, intentional, and unwavering. In past relationships, you may have tolerated disrespect, inconsistency, or emotional distance because you feared losing the connection. But when the right person comes along, you understand that real love does not require you to sacrifice your self-respect. You do not have to lower your standards or accept less than what you give. The relationship is balanced, reciprocal, and filled with mutual appreciation. This inner peace also manifests in the way you view your future with this person. There is no fear of instability, no underlying worry that they will disappear without warning. Instead, there is excitement, clarity, and shared vision. You are not stuck in an endless cycle of wondering whether they are serious about you, because their actions make it abundantly clear that they are. There is emotional security in knowing that you are not wasting your time on something temporary. The right relationship does not create unnecessary obstacles or confusion. It does not make you feel like you are constantly auditioning for someone's love. Instead, it provides you with a stable, nurturing environment where you can thrive emotionally, mentally, and even spiritually. You feel lighter, freer, and more yourself than ever before. There is no pressure to perform or meet unrealistic expectations. There is only a deep knowing that you are exactly where you are meant to be.